this entire month is going to be so crucial in terms of starting positions. I'm going to go over that with you guys right now. But think about this, right? If I keep my stack here, yeah, I come forward with my head still directly over my butt. Because I didn't change the orientation of my chest, I changed the orientation of my entire body without losing it. So it's when I come here, and when I come here, that's when you lose it. I got you. Right, so you can lean forward, you have to. Because it's a propulsive movement. But like, it feels different for sure. Like if I step here, if I don't step forward and I step, I'm not feeling my front heel and twisting with walking my arm straight. It's just gonna feel like, okay, it's like pretty easy. And like you're gonna just kind of, there's no lack of control. And that's why it's a great warm-up. Okay, so hey, like step one step, get set, lower, 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 switch, come back. All right, and it's only as good or as hard as you make it.
So what makes that primer more so than just like a lunge?
I mean, it is a lunge, but it's more so like, you try it.
Would that be more full body activation?
Yeah, right. Like, what are we trying to do?
Well, I get that it's like a grip, the shoulders, it's like a twist, it's a trunk.
It's
like,
not
but it's also just.
You're gonna take a smaller step. Keep your sternum over your butt. Good. You feel how you're getting in and out of each hip as you do that.
Yeah.
You feel abs all the time too.
As much as I can.
What?
As much as I can.
When you got a 20.
Exhale first. So keep that.
Maybe I'm in that category of, like, I'm not doing it right, so it feels kind of easy.
It's 100%, yeah. Like, I mean, it's not hard, it's a warm-up. Like, but like really, or it should be like we'll do a couple of crawls, we'll do a couple like body weight exercises, maybe enter with some jumping jacks, and like then it's like our power little like circuit here is going to be like the warm-up.
So are we getting rid of the adult stuff
Yeah.
on the ground and all that stuff?
I think it was a complete waste of time. It was just better served. They could be working out. And like if you just ramp it up appropriately, like it's not like we're getting them ready to sprint. It's not like they're coming to us so completely jacked up. Like the reset should take care of the mobility issues to a degree. And then it's from there, it's just like I just need to get a little warm. Which like they should hopefully be warm. Like I usually just reset and go, but I'm 24. So I don't want to make any brash assumptions.
Everyone's going to reset together.
Yeah, but like each so probably because there's only gonna be 2 of us, we might even grab you. Like we'll 2 or 3 coaches will divvy them up half and half, and like I'm gonna take my people over here. Like hey, we're gonna stay over on this side, put our feet up on the wall, and then you're just gonna take the time and you're gonna coach it. And it's like okay, we're gonna see how far we can get. Maybe this week we're really just gonna emphasize like can you feel your low back? Okay, and like if that's all they feel, like that's okay. We're gonna do it at the end of the session too.
So then how would we do that if there's 15 middle schoolers finishing, there's 12 adults, and we want to start with like resets where you want to keep it small, so it's like you and
Trevor have 15 middle schoolers, me and Eric and Lisa, or you, Eric, and Trevor have 15 middle schoolers, me and Lisa have 6 adults.
Where are you going to be doing the resets? Against the walls?
Against the walls, or close to. Yeah.
Okay. Do we want to designate?
It'll be set up beforehand. Like with this new program, it has to be like when we come in here, like adults need to be preset because we're not gonna have time with middle schoolers, and we're not gonna have time to step away from middle schoolers and then set it up. So it's gonna be ready to go. But I'm thinking like literally like do a reset. All right, bear crawl to me, like then let's do some like forward lunges on the way back. All right, Spider-Man crawl to me, walking goblet squat on the way back, or walking like drop squat, like lateral lunge to me. Jog down to the wall, jog back, 15 jumping jacks, 15 seal jumps, let's go. Okay, like it's really that easy. Do a couple of crawls, like something they're really uncomfortable doing. That's more just kind of like movement. A couple of just body weight exercises, like you said, for like if you want to call it activation, I don't know. I mean, I just think to them it's probably just more so getting their heart rate up, and then we'll hit it, and then we'll get into something like this where if we lay the foundation right. Eric, I love you for this one.
Sick. Hey, it's a thought that counts.
you lay the foundation right, this part, like I said, will kind of be a continuation of the warm-up, and it's going to make it incredibly hard from a census standpoint. So like, for example, like your lower level people are going to be doing a lateral march. Your more athletic people are going to do a unilateral ankle hop, laterally. So like lateral march, right? Like, okay, we're just gonna focus on staying tall, staying relaxed, right? But we're gonna focus on like kind of a ground contact of stepping up and down. All right, my arms moving, my legs moving. Just tricky coordination, okay? But what is it? It's a massive regression from something like this, where I go hop, hop, hop. It's kind of like a bound. This would be more of a bound, but. Yes. And then in between, you're going to superset with a half kneeling scoop toss. So, I'm throwing over my front leg here. All right, but watch what I'm going to do. When I get set up here, if my left leg's in front, I am going to take my hip bone and drive it down towards the floor, okay? But before I do that, I got to tuck. So I'm going to tuck my back pockets, drive this hip onto the floor. This leg just got smoked just for me doing that, okay? So now you should feel anchored. I'm going to reach, blow, and let it go. All right, we can get people thrown up in the walls. I mean, you can have them spread out, like have it take time. It's a warm-up, right? That's fine. All right, but here, like even if you come over here, let me show my coach this. So don't go. So go ahead, reach your arms out in front of you with the ball. I want you to tuck your back pockets down. Good, and then I want you to take this hip and drive it down towards the floor. Well, come back up, do that again. Don't move your knee. There you go, you feel it inside the thigh, big time. Blow out all your air. Keep this and throw. Boom. So,
it's like Thor.
Like you see the difference there of just okay, like you have to be, the intent's got to be there too. It's like, hey, like I'm not looking for you to throw it as hard as you can. I'm looking for you to throw it as hard as you can while maintaining shape. And you're gonna do 5 each leg, so like that's gonna take a while. You do our first week we're only doing 3 sets, but we'll get up to 5 sets of that. So it's like I said, the warm up doesn't need to be anything fancy because like that alone, you do 5 throws each side. People are chasing balls all over the place. Like it's gonna take some time. But it's also good because like they're gonna want to go through it too fast, and if you want to develop power, and if they want like it's almost like a built-in like rest for them chasing stuff around, and then in between going back. Lateral marches. Like for like if they're doing a march, 10 yards each side, they're doing the jumps, it's 8 each foot. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's more like an elastic training. Like you're not really cueing. Like it's not like a jump for distance. It's like a hop, ankle jump type deal.
How many sets did you say that was for?
It'll be on. They'll have a sheet, but like the first, like the whole intro week is going to be like 3, and then we'll go and it's going to be the same thing. Like we'll do 3, basically 3 and 2 sets everything. So that's kind of like their power work, right? So like instead of sprinting and doing all that stuff, like they're just gonna combine into a little circuit. And like as people get better, like maybe one day they'll be able to skip, right? And like and I kind of left a blank gap in there, so I really only have 2 exercises for everything because there are gonna be probably a lot of people who within the program are ready to progress. So we'll look to kind of like, hey, like I really think Lisa can skip, like if she wanted to. I'm like, okay, let's give it a try. You know. So that would be A1, AB, or 1A, 1B. And then once they're done there, you go ahead and you get into a game. All right, so this whole block is going to be, like I said, like position emphasis, technical emphasis, find and feel stuff, especially this first week. Like when you take your group, right, and we'll all pretty much have a group, like the 4 of us. It's like, hey, learn it, learn it, learn it. Like, this is the learning week. Like, don't worry about anything else. You're just going to learn it, okay? I promise you this is going to suck next week. I promise you tomorrow's going to suck because we're going to do conditioning, okay? Like, you'll get your calorie, learn what you want, and then some. Just learn it, okay? Like, don't try to do anything impressive today. Because this is their, like, new one. Like, you just didn't disguise that as, like, a week to learn stuff. And if they don't listen, just have a conversation. They're probably more scared of you than you are them. So like I have like a banded pull through, a kettlebell deadlift, and a trap bar deadlift, okay? Everyone's going toes up. Every person you see is going toes up. One that's gonna make sure they can't cheat their stance out, right? and it's really just gonna make your job a lot easier. So even just setting up, like, just to show you how I pull it through. Assuming my toes were up, this is gonna be tied low down here. All right. You have to get them to start tall first, because if they start in this position, they're gonna suck, okay? But I'm just gonna say, get up, stand up really tall here. All right, so looking right ahead of the whiteboard, I just want you to kind of tuck your back pockets and just kind of soften your knees, okay? You should feel your heels on the floor when you do this. All right, and then just let that band pull you down for a 3 count. 1, 2, 3, and then tall and tight squeeze your butt, okay? Closer. Okay, again, that's just kind of tuck my back hips, or tuck my back pockets down, bend my knees. 1, 2, 3, tall and tight.
Could we have Trevor do it and you can coach him?
Absolutely. The biggest thing you're going to see is people are going to want to try to reach and touch the floor with their hands. I just tell them that hands are hooks and they're just going along for the ride. So like let your body, lower body feel the weight.
You said you
stand up first.
You're gonna have them do a toe though.
Yep.
Toe lift.
Good. Stand up really tall. So go ahead and tuck your back pockets to your knees. Soften your knees a little bit. Good. And then I want you to breathe out before you pull your ribs out. So blow all your air out. Good. Keep that. Now go ahead and sit back on your heels for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Good. Come on up. Now when you do that, I want you to go a little faster. I want your chest to stay over your hands the whole time. So go ahead and try that again. When you're ready. 1, 2, 3, like that. That's better. Good. But hey, remember, I want you to try to think about trying to keep your ribs down. So blow out, feel your abs. Good. Soften your knees a little bit. Push your toes down on the way down. Pushing your toes. Keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. Now push through your heel. There you go. Good. When you see like this, all this excessive curve here, like I need you to soften your knees a little bit, and then I want you to think about like I'm taking your right shoulders and I'm pulling your butt down to the floor. Okay. So what you're doing is you're just squeezing your butt. I want you to think about trying to take your belly button and bring it to your belt buckle. Yeah, there you go. Now you have to keep that. So now go ahead, lower down or push into your toes. Go ahead. Really hard. Keep your knees soft, it helps. Woo, toes, Trev. Yeah, there you go. Woo.
Wow, I do a lot of things wrong.
So do you feel that difference, right? It's not low back and like low hamstring, it's like mid hamstring, all butt. Good, so like I said, that's your cue. Belt buckle with the belly button. Good, keep that as you push your toes down. Don't let your toes come off the floor on the way down. That was a lot better, a lot better. You're still wanting to thrust this up. You see, like, you're just going too far.
Too far back?
If you do it right, you shouldn't even be able to squeeze your butt on the way up. It should already be squeezed, because if you set it right. So go ahead, bend your knees a little bit. Belt buckle to belly button. I want you to lean forward a little bit with your chest. That's your starting position. Keep that position. Go ahead down. Push your toes down. Push your toes down. Yeah, that was good. Get there. Yeah, we'll work on that. Go ahead and relax. Sorry. So like I said, that's going to be pretty annoying to teach. I'm going to start most people there, and then just work on getting them probably to a kettlebell as fast as possible, because that's not really like a long-term fix. It really just makes the kettlebell deadlift that much easier, because then all you go to do is you set it up like almost back behind their heel, so they have to like reach back behind their legs instead of reaching down here and just kind of dumping forward. So I'm gonna get more back from their heel, and then I'll come up here, and then it's the same thing. Okay, keep my head over my butt, soft knees. 1, 2, 3. I'm up. All right, you guys know how to do all this stuff, and then trap bar is no different. I will say this, okay, this is kind of a nice little cue I picked up, is like, I know I used to tell you guys pull your shoulders down to your arm, like your hip pockets, but like I really don't think that's probably the way, because like that's just gonna drive you into an extension. So what I want to do is I want you to think of more like trying to get them to reach, and like everyone needs to do this. I don't care if they've been here for 3 years. Like when we're coaching adults, like, hey, I know you, that's how you do this, but like you're gonna do this every time this week when we set up for deadlift, is you're gonna reach your arms out in front of you. All right, you're gonna bend your knees a little bit, and then same thing. I want you to try to kind of tuck your back pockets or pull your belt buckle to your belly button, and then just go ahead and just sit back until you can grab this bar here, okay? And then I've been telling people this second line is a great place to look. All right, I'm going to reach my arms through here, stand squeeze. All right, and the difference is like here, there can be, as long as I'm feeling lats and it's round, right? Look at my head position. That's where it's when it's this, or when it's this, is when that kind of becomes a problem. You can have like because you have like a big back, like it can be misconstrued as it's not straight. It's more so you want to look in the ear in relation to the hip bone. So like if you see me from the side here, if I reach, like my head position doesn't really change at all. It's when I come here or when I come here, that's what's gonna jack you up. So I'll say reach through the bar, like grab the bar, push your feet to the floor, so like you feel your armpits, and then just push, all right? You're not gonna rip the shoulder out of socket from doing that, and from not having like a pre-packed lat. It'll be okay. Does that make sense? Why don't you get ahead and try that?
It's definitely reinforcing the reset positioning too.
Yeah, that pattern's gonna be, they're gonna be so sick of it by the time we're done. Good. Good. Push some feet pressure in the floor first. Yeah, push harder. There you go. I want you to reach long through that bar. Let's try this again. Don't go, like get set up like you're gonna go, but then don't go. Good. Feel abs. Good. Now I want you to reach your arms really long. Longer. Push your feet in the floor a little bit. There, like that. Now push the floor away. There you go. You feel that in your lat? A little bit different. Try again.
Just gotta get his eyes up to the second line.
Good. A little bit of foot pressure, and then push the floor right through your foot. Good.
Say it, your coach.
So
Say
you're
it, your coach.
No,
That's probably why I felt
Trevor has something to say.
no.
Yo, what's up?
I just said you need to get your eyes up to the second line, that's all.
What?
Get your eyes up to the second line when you start.
What's
This
No.
line.
Oh, you showed this line, dingus. Hey,
Okay, so with this, all right, like I said, first week is just kind of learn it. They're only doing 3x5, but when they come back the next week, they're doing 10x5, okay, with a minute rest. So it's like they put it down, they're gonna either step out, watch their partner go, or they're gonna stand here. And that's all right, I got 50 seconds on the clock, I'm gonna get my setup here. All right, and the key there is to manage load. Like it should never really cross more than 60% because like I'm not worried about the first 5 sets, I'm worried about the last 5 sets. So it's kind of like a tempo run, right? Your first should look the same as your last. When you're doing stuff like this, you need to preface like, hey, like this isn't like a strength thing, all right? And like I want you guys to be able to do a manageable weight because like you're doing it for 10 sets and you're only resting a minute. Like that's the hard part. All right, the weight part is going to be the hard part. It'll get hard as time goes on. And that's the same for these eccentrics, like what we did like this past, and even with the ISOs that are coming up next month for the high school, it's the same concept. Like we're making it hard by doing like other constraints rather than just the weight. And then each week we're going to progress them and weigh a little bit if it's there. And then for like the last week we're almost going to do like a test for that weight and see how much they can do safely. So that's going to be like the main lift. That'll take like probably 10-15 minutes if they do it right and rest appropriately. And then you just get into accessory work, okay? And then it's from there. It's all coaching position and stuff like that. That same thing we worked on in the office last week. Just like what you feel in a reset is probably going to be very similar to what you feel when you're doing accessory work. So like when we come here, we're going to do a
Tiers.
think of like a tier 3 like hinge. So it's going to be low load. Like I have kettlebell RDL in here because if they can't do it on 2 feet, they probably can't do it very well on 1. Okay, so like that's going to be like, hey, like if I see someone struggling with a kickstand RDL, like, or even a single leg RDL, this is not happening. So for this, if you're getting somebody to do like a kickstand RDL, have them go super duper light. We're just going to go one hand. We're not doing this because what this does is it crowds us into this position where we can't really feel what we want to feel, and it kind of jacks up our posture. So if their whole foot is on the back wall, okay, that means most of their weight should be here. You can push a little bit of heel down into the wall, but it's like people often try to do this and like they come off and they peel their hair off the wall. They're trying to use their back leg too much. Okay, so if I get set up here, all right, same thing. I'm gonna kind of soften my front knee. I'm gonna pull my belt buckle to my belly button, and then I want to keep my chest over the weight as I just push my butt back towards the wall. And that sucks with 13 pounds right there. Okay, like I feel the biggest stretch of my life. If I can feel my abs, and they can just kind of come out here with their arm, or they can kind of put their hand in their hip pocket to feel that. That's fine too. Okay, but it's the same concept, right? If I got to start up here, I need to really think about trying to follow the floor down, 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 and then come back up, all right? The big thing is like watch their knee, right? Like you want to see no side-to-side movement of the knee. It might come back and forth a little bit, but if I come here, I'm just going to drop straight down. Like you see, I'm really bad at this because it wants to keep going that way because that's where I'm comfortable.
Didn't move at all.
Okay, well, I feel like my foot's all over the place. And then you switch. And this sucks. And it's all about like make it suck by making them feel stuff rather than like, yeah, because like they should feel a lot of hamstring and a lot of like groin and a lot of hip, right? Because anytime I get on this leg here, and if I'm doing this right, it's almost like I'm pushing the back wall behind me to get opposite butt cheek, and then I'm getting heavy in this foot. Stretch and drop my chest. Ooh, ouch. Come here, yeah. I'm gonna try it. I know you know how to do it, but I'm just gonna have everybody do these. So stop putting so much weight in your back leg. You're just trying to keep your toes and your heel. It's almost like you're almost standing on one leg pretty much. Like that one's just there for support. And then Alex, you're just a little too close.
A little too perfect, Alex.
Yeah. Don't worry about that back leg at all. Let's stay in there. Think about just dropping your chest over the weight. Good. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. It sucks. So, belt buckle to belly button. Just relax, okay? And then I want you to turn your front foot at your zipper. Good. Bend your left knee a little bit. Keep that bend and just push your butt back towards the rack. Drop your chest, drop your chest, drop your chest, drop your chest. Good, that's not bad. You need to get more on your toes when you come down. Yeah, like that. Now go. Just push your heel with the rack really hard. Your back go. Yeah, so you feel that when you go here? So keep this.
Oh, I did this so wrong the other time I did it.
Bring your foot back just a little bit. Okay, good. I want you to think about trying to keep this long. Okay, so you need to feel abs before you go down. Blow out. And then just keep this tightness, and then you can breathe while you keep it. Just keep it. That's a lot better, but you need a little more knee bend in your left leg. So keep that bend. You're gonna push your toes down as you go to the floor.
You spread out quite a bit.
So there you go, and heel. Boom. That was it. Okay, good job.
I'm done. Calling my workout for the day.
Yeah, see, like look at that. What, like you guys can all probably RDL 3 bills, and like 13 pounds for 10 reps is it's gonna crucify them. Okay, but if you let them blow through it, and we're doing a 3-second eccentric on all this stuff. Like all the accessory works 3-second eccentric. So like, if I'm here, I'm just gonna go down for 1, 2, 3. Not trying to touch the floor, right? Like your hand, as soon as your hand probably gets to your knee, like,
You're
good. And then a single leg RDL, 1 arm, 1 leg, it's the same thing. I'm just gonna take away the support leg. So I'm gonna bend, tuck, down, stand over the middle of my foot. Not like the middle, but like I'm in line with the middle. Okay, because I don't want to reach too much and round out. But like I said, if I sat here,
And you don't want when they're going to go like all the way back.
yeah, it's just for balance, right? Like I don't like they can kick, but like that's a long lever position, then more gravity can take up more of my leg. If I make my leg smaller, it's easier to manage.
Are you thinking tall through your hip, or?
Yeah, with this, it depends on the side. So like if I'm here, if I'm on my left leg, because of your organs, you have to hip twist.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm here, I have to pull my hip up. So if I'm standing on my right leg, like you guys can try this right now, like think about it, like stand on your right leg, and then like put your left leg behind you, what happens? Your left hip bone always drops down. So you want to keep that pulled up. And then that's where you feel there. You'll probably feel a little cramping there if you do that wrong. And then if you do the same thing on the other side, Your hip bone doesn't drop, but it opens back.
Wow, that's so weird.
Isn't that weird? And everyone's like, my leg's shorter than the other. It's like, no, it's not. That's how you're made.
Stop telling lies.
So for this one, it's a zipper. It's not like zipper to pinky toe. It's nose, belly button, zipper, face my big toe. As soon as I did that, I just felt my calf kick on. All right, and then I'm going to soften my front calf.
Front calf.
And then I'm just going to go down. It's not supposed to like kick on. I'm just saying like the way you position yourself usually shuts stuff off. We got to fly though. We're wasting too much time. I'm glad you guys are doing this though. We might have to do this like every day this week, just before a session. Try to get like a couple exercises in. And then the upper. So you're pairing that with a press, and like we're just going to start single arm dumbbell press. Let's go over there, and then a single arm floor press. Successful it's probably going to be, okay? For this, you might need to put a mat down just at their feet, or if they're using those, they can kind of set it up. But like if they can't feel their heel right, they're going to arch the whole time, okay? So I need to think about trying to close the distance between my ribs and my hips, so just the back pocket tuck. I'm going to keep my hand at a 45. All right, and we're just going to inhale down, keeping my wrist over my shoulder. Exhale up, and that's really hard for me to keep. So like I would need something to put my feet on. So if you think about it like this, I'm gonna feel my low back, and this is fine too if you want to do this, right? Because this limits weight too.
I was doing this on my back because
yeah.
I couldn't keep it with my feet on the ground.
So I'm just gonna go ahead. I'm gonna push my heels into the bench. I'm gonna feel my low back. That already gives me abs. So I want them to put their hands there and keep that tension. Breathe in. That's what you call. Cool. All right, and then it's the same. For the floor press, we're just making it easier because there's more back and they're shortening the range of motion, okay? But don't let them shut off here because they're just gonna wanna lay here and go here. It's gotta be, I gotta make my back like a banana. So I'm gonna round out my back. I'm gonna still push my heels down to the floor. All right, they should feel hamstring. If you wanna get really weird with people, you can tell them feel the pinky side of their hand on the way down. Feel their thumb on the way up. That's going to kind of play into the whole supination, flexion, abduction thing, and then pronation, into rotational.
When you say like a banana, are you talking like more like a U?
With my back.
More like a U shape?
If you grab the banana, it's going to curve out. Like the back of the banana is like your back.
Curved that way.
Yeah, and it's not that they're like going to be curved. It's that they're opposite curved, and if you tell them that, they correct to neutral. So like, because like if you look at it, if I stand up, like my low back just kind of arches in, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's called lordosis. I'm just getting them to do this, and it's not this. It looks like they're taking a crap. It's like I said. It's like I'm trying to bring my belly button to my belt buckle to my belly button, because that just shifts your hips back. It doesn't just flex your spine. This would be flexing my spine. I'm looking just to tilt my hips.
Gotcha.
Accessory work's going to be for feel and control, so it's not going to be anything crazy. This next part's a little tricky. Stay over there.
Oh. You sore?
Oh yeah.
Are you too?
So I bought like 2 more cable stack thingies, kind of, or 2 more ropes. I think we only have 1 cable though, so. It's like probably the guys will be doing more like cable stuff. People are going to do bands, so like you guys know, like a seated lat pull down. And you can do this either with one hand, like if you got somebody who's super strong and you want to go here, or if you just want to move it through, that's fine too. But even in a seated position, like we're not going to shut this off. So like for example, you can do this with either like a mat, or you can do this with a they have to be a little bit heavier. Like if I'm going to come here, I'm going to think about trying to pull my heels and reach my knees forward. So if I do that, you'll see just a slight rounding in the back. I should feel hamstring as I pull down, and then I'm going to let it go for 1, 2, 3. Breathe out. And the cue you want to see here is you want their shoulder blade to go up into their armpit on the reach. So it's 1, 2, 3. All right, all without keeping with kind of really not rotating this chest bone too much. It's gonna come this way a little bit, but I'm not coming with my whole body. I'm letting my arm lose to the band. That band wins, it takes my arm up, and I pull back down. All while I'm trying to pull in my heels in here.
Which keeps your back flat? Is that the point of the heels?
Anchor, like it's kind of, it keeps that tilt action that we're just trying to reinforce with everybody because everyone's so dull forward. You're just trying to get them out of that position. Keeps the hamstrings live, which they sit on usually all day. And then this one, this is like kind of your like level 1 is going to be like, this is our quad dominant one. And this one's a little tricky because we have an ISO hold in there, because that's going to be for people who like have just no idea what they're doing. So let's come over in this rack. All right, and to make your life a lot easier, in terms of how we coach this. And this is more so just for the ball. So, this is a hand-supported squat. So watching them from the side is going to be huge because it's going to tell you everything you need to know. All right, obviously get their heel lifted. It's going to be huge as well. All right, but I want to think about trying to belt up with the belly button, keep that position there. As I use this for support, I want to think about just driving my knees forward. And you're going to go until you're going to tell them to go down until they lose the tuck. So if I go here and drop out of it too far, I got to come up. You feel hamstrings? Yep. Okay. Stay here, look at the wall, breathe. And we're just going to time them. So like they would go for like 5 breaths, like roughly 35 seconds or so, while everybody else is going to go reps on this one. But like for someone who can't do a split squat, this is equally worse. Like, I mean, it's equally as bad. So if you see a lot of things here, it's going to be kind of like this knee out thing, or it's going to be 2 knees in. It's like, so the fix for that would be band, the other fix for that would be a ball or a roller. And you're cueing them to squeeze that. The better thing to say here would just be, hey, pull yourself down using your heels. So if I can get that tuck, all right, when they do that, they should feel a little hamstring. All right, pull yourself down. Because when I do that, my knees will just go forward. If I just try to drop down, I'm probably going to want to sit forward. All right, but if I breathe in, and I'm just trying to keep my hands, I'm just pushing my foot into the floor without popping up. That's going to suck. And then your other variations is going to be split squat. With some heel contact here. This one's going to be tough. You might need to stuff like a belt behind someone who does this with just a plate reaching. Okay, so just like that. And then your other variation, your third one, is going to be a front foot elevated. Same deal, kettlebell, dumbbell, whatever. Just loading up just a little bit heavier. But a 3 count on the way down for everyone except for the ISO. And then last, is this going to be their like their ab and their breathing. So it's like at this point they should be pretty smoked. This is like more so like pull down and ab at the same time. So let's come over here to the wall.
So that ISO, you said we're timing it. Are they trying to get longer holds each time?
Yeah, essentially, I'd rather than fight for depth. So like.
So just get deeper.
The train of thought is like, hey, this week you were kind of here. Let's see if we can go a little bit lower without losing the tuck. So and you're just letting them train in a zone that they can train in, instead of giving it something they can't do. So for this one, we have basically 3 variations. Most people are probably going to be doing the first. Some will do the second. So like a 90-90 hemi bridge is like that 90-90 hip thing we did on the box. We don't probably have the luxury of having people do it in the boxes because we just don't have enough. So it's going to be this right here. And so I'm going to get set up here. I'm going to push my feet into the wall. And then I tell people, or you can literally just go put your hand under their heel. It's like, hey, I want you to pull your heel down into my hand. And they should feel their legs come alive when they do that, okay? And then from here, it's just going to go, whether they're wide or narrow, which most people, we're just going to start here. You're just going to breathe in. And you're really gonna coach that 8 to 12 second exhale. Keep the abs on. That's all there is to it. But if they do it right, it should be about a minute per set. And they do just 2 sets of this. The second variation would be a 90-90 with the same thing. Okay, you still gotta cue the same foot action, so I still gotta push my feet down and pull my heels back while doing that back pocket tuck. And like just right there, my hamstring really wants to cramp. Breathe in and out. Yes, sir.
I was gonna say it was the next variation, like a hook line.
Hook line, yep. Why would it be that?
I don't know.
Okay. So for something like this, we're literally just kind of getting people, it's like a 90-90, but it's also kind of like neutral. Because look at my ankles, they're pretty neutral. All right, as soon as I go here, I'm going into more what? Down or more up?
More down.
If I go here, like look at my knees in relation to my toe. It's kind of going over my toe a little bit more, right? Because if I set up here and I pull back and push, you're targeting more hip extension. These drills are all built to restore hip extension, which everyone really lacks. So like in this position here, you're just teaching people how to feel that hamstring. Here would be like progression 2, where it's a little bit harder. And then progression 3 would actually be, I was able to do this with your mom, where you could tuck, reach, and then keep the tuck as you lift, and then you literally just are glutes all the way. Like at this point, I don't even really feel a lot of hamstring, but I feel a lot of glute. And so they're all built in, and then even the one I have in there was a seated reach. I'll show you that one real quick, just because it's kind of fun. Go one of the lower. Same thing. I'm going to use this pad to my hamstrings. Might be a little too advanced. Oh! Just come a little too far forward. With this, is a challenge. Giving you something to breathe into. Where you can literally just go like this. So this would be like level 1 of this, and then level 2 reaching over there. So it's pulling me back while I'm trying to keep my head over my butt, digging my heels in. Ideally, like the rower makes it harder because it wants to pull you back. You could put them on a seat and just tie them to the rack. But like the taller you are, the more gravity you're managing. So like that's why like the 90-90 is the easiest, because you're literally just using your legs, your back supported. The hook line is you're taking away the support of like the wall, using the floor, and then this is like this is Don't get too like bogged down by this stuff, because we're gonna be doing mostly that stuff. And we're gonna be probably doing it at the beginning of the workout too, to try to drill certain emphasis.
Yeah, that first one looked absolutely terrible.
This one?
Yeah, the one that you started with.
Alright. So that's like the bones. Day 1. Day 1. Day 2 is going to be very similar. So come over here. I'm just going to show you this, and we're just going to go through it, like whatever you think you want to see. Like even if you if you think that you've been coaching it wrong, like say something. But like we're going to have people bear crawl, 8 steps forward, 8 steps backward, with that same kind of premise of like keeping position, keeping abs, keeping head over butt or in line with butt. And that should make it significantly harder. You know, otherwise, they're just going to do a bear hold that could be either knees up or knees down, just working on breathing. And then in between, it's the same way I coach that chest pass. So can you let Alex film and you go grab that ball? side out. So
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do this. Go ahead and your zipper for the front knee. No, don't move your knee up. Don't move your knee. Ooh, you feel that in your hips? Okay, tuck your back pocket. Don't walk the button. Feel that in your leg? Okay, I want you to push that leg down to the heart as hard as you can before. Reach your arms out straight. Breathe out all your air. Keep that tension in your abs, go as far as you can. Good. You feel that? Yeah. That's how it needs to feel. So either we're doing a sideways one, a forward one. It's can you create all this tension and stiffness in a good shape, and then load it and explode it. Okay.
Oh, I'm about to cramp up in my
Yeah.
lower back.
So then so you're pairing that with bear crawls. The next thing you're going to, I'm actually, because like, think about this. We'll go over the conditioning aids in a sec, but like that, and then you come back the next day and have to squat. Like, think how much legs we just like smoked. And hamstrings are gonna be toasted this whole month. So I went ahead and I threw the upper as like a day off. It's kind of like a high day, a conditioning day, like a low day, conditioning day, and then like a high day again if they get back for the fifth day. But it's going to be like either a dumbbell floor press, like a bilateral, a dumbbell bench, bilateral, or a bench. Not with them, if they're barbell benching, like depends on who they are, but like cube like better technique. So like no arch, no stuff like that, feeling feet, feeling hamstrings. With adults, I think that's the way we should go. I don't think we need to drive any unnecessary damage there. And then this one, I'll go over this one, the half kneeling split squat iso. So like instead of like letting people lunge, you get them set up. Which break this is when I'm using it. Okay. So same concept here, okay? When I'm in this position, my hip bone is really close to my armpit. I want to try to distance that apart, okay? So it's like I'm going to push my knee down into the floor, get back butt. All right, and I'm going to get this leg in front. I'm going to push this down, and I'm going to reach so I feel abs. And I'm just going to sit here. And this whole time you're telling me supposed to push the floor, push the wall in like ridiculous, like go ahead and get down and give it a try.
You want me to do my shoe off?
Let's see if we can do it without. You're gonna try to hold this for like about 30 seconds on each side. So back pocket's on first, right? Always belt up in the bed one. Good. Now I want you to take your right hip and try to drive it down towards the floor. So like this, you're gonna take your hip, you're gonna pull this into your armpit, or your armpit without moving your knee though. Without moving your knee. Now push your heel through the back wall. Push your foot down to the floor. Breathe in. Breathe all your air out. Breathe in. Breathe out. You're trying to get all your air out, all of it out, all of it out. You're holding this. Keep pushing the floor, pushing the wall. You got 10 seconds. There, good. Relax. So something like that, right? Like if you can't split squat, like that's a great alternative. And most people in our adult program can't split squat. So
Easy.
like give them a time constraint, like hey, like we're gonna work up to that, and then with then the next progression would just be a goblet reverse lunge for 3 seconds where I'm going 1, 2, 3, pop back up. Same thing, we're trying to play around with hip in position. I can lean forward if I'm not compensating at my back and I'm not rounding, okay? So feel my abs, keep my heels heavy on the floor. 1, 2, you're either just up right here. If they're here, then you gotta feel abs. Then come back. And then the next progression is somebody can just go heavier with that. 1, 2, 3. All right.
So it seems like in most of the exercises with our hips, we're releasing all of our air before we go, right?
Correct.
And then are you getting air on the way up then?
So think about this, breathe behind it. So like you can like blow all your air out real quick, keep that, and I'm just breathing behind it through your nose, right? You can still breathe just fine. It's not, they're gonna lose it, and that's okay. But it's getting on them and trying to remind them to do that. It's gonna be better than them holding their breath in an extended position and driving more. Like if you train a muscle in this position, it's gonna clamp down, it's gonna get tighter, it's gonna pull you further into that. So we're trying to at least get them out of that. So when they do kind of slip up, not nearly as big as the difference. And then you're pairing that with a seated single arm overhead press or a seated alternating overhead press. I put on bench because I want them to do that same thing. I want to pull heels into a mat or something or a dumbbell so they feel hamstrings underneath. All right, and then with them, if they want to, it looks usually better if they Arnold press. If they're doing a single arm, have them reach because that's going to help keep those ribs down. 1, 2, 3, pop. 1, 2, 3, and then if they're doing this here, it's the same thing. I'm just going to kind of pull one elbow down, reach one up, come back, pull one down, reach one up. I'm not seesawing, so like they're going to have to go pretty light. But that's only going to be like probably like most guys will be able to do that, but like I want to make sure like most of the females are going to probably just need to focus on feeling the hamstrings, feeling the abs, not letting this or like this come up here, okay? It's all about kind of what's happening and then that goes back. So you pair those together, the split squat and the overhead press. Seated band curl. You literally tie a band up around the waist, pull the bench up to like about 1.5 feet away from the rack. Loop the band in around your ankles. All right, same thing. I'm gonna imagine I'm gonna reach my knees forward to keep my tuck, and then I'm gonna pull back fast and lower back for 3. So I'm facing you. If the band's tied to you, and I'm sitting here. I'm pulling back, 1, 2, 3, and we're going here. The other variation of that is if you, let's just go over there and do that. So like that was 1, this is 2. Alright, but it's easier with shoes. Okay? But same thing, this is gonna be tough. I like to try to almost like just kind of have them put their hands here to feel this to start, and then they can kind of go here. If you tell them to reach their elbows long, it'll kind of get rid of that, but it's 1, 2, 3, legs straight, pull your heels to your butt. Okay? Oh, and we're doing this on this day because of this, because it's a really, really low grade, like you're doing 15 reps, high volume. It's a hamstring curl, it's not very, it gets peripherally taxing, but like neurologically it's not that bad at all. With the band, go nice and low. If the dude's wearing shorts, he's going to get pissed because like this doesn't feel good on your leg there at all. It just goes right around your ankles. Okay, so I want to think about, first I'm going to keep my feet on the floor to start. I'm going to reach my knees forward, so it's this kind of tuck position. 1, 2, 3. All right, and that's without coming out of this. I want to take this kind of sit back on my sit bones. That's probably a better cue when someone's sitting down, feel your butt bones. Keep my head over my butt. And then stretch it out. Easy day. And then for a pull. You're just going a seated single arm band row or a seated single arm cable row. If you're having them sit on the ground, put dumbbells at their feet so they can dig their heels into it, or if they're sitting up on a bench, this would be up here more. It would be the same premise. Like if I had a block right underneath my foot, I'm going to pull my hamstrings to feel hamstring. Stretch. Pull, and you're really letting that band win. Same cue as the lat pull down. Let your arm or your shoulder blade go into your armpit. Well, try keeping your head over your butt. You're doing that just so that you can get them a little bit more kind of rotation, twisting action. And then the ab is virtually the same as the day before. You can go over this here real quick. With the exception of like we would do like some hip shifting, but like I don't think a ton of people are ready for that yet. So like if you watch me do this, a hip shift would look something like this. Where like if I'm here, I'm going to do all my actions here. I'm going to tuck, I'm going to lift. All right, it's like if I were to take my left knee and pull it down, you see how my like right knee just comes up a little bit? As soon as I do that, I feel way more glute med, adductor, and hamstring on this leg. So it's almost like I'm smoking this leg, and those are like your big frontal plane muscles. So like I'm just getting a different plane. the same thing on the other side. So if I reset here, tuck, pull, right? Try not to move my knees. Now when I pull, I don't want to let this open. Your knees should stay straight up and down. You don't want to see any lateral movement of the knees. So if I tuck here, if I'm going to pull this one back, reach this one forward, ooh, there it is. Most of the focus is on that leg. All right. And then the next thing you would do there is the same thing, just side leg.
Do your knees not be like over top of your hips?
For me, no.
Okay.
That, ideally, it would be great. For like 60 degrees or 90 degrees is fine. So like if they're a little bit back.
So does that have to do more for wide or narrow?
Yes. Narrows you want at 90, wides would be fine at 60.
That's good.
And then setting up here on your side, you can do this kind of a couple of ways. It just depends on what they need. Like I usually just have them do it where if you do this, you do it with a hip shift. So I would think about, without moving this knee, I'm gonna tuck my back pockets, push my heels in the box, reach forward. It's a lot better done on a wall. Please don't do it in a box. And then so I see like how my knee reaches way past here. Lift it up without losing foot contact. This is screaming. I'm gonna look over here because if I look down here, my back's gonna get all rounded, not in a good way. If you want a little ab, just push that into the ground really hard. It's really good for wides, right? Because if they're wide, gravity is gonna crush them down, all right? And you want them to kind of use that as an attempt that's gonna almost like really help them get in a better position. We don't have a lot of wide people though, like Karen. I might do this with Karen. Because I've taught her in the office before. Cool. I will be helping or like trying to read most of these parts. Because at this point, you're probably going to be doing middle schoolers or high schoolers, checking them in. And like starting more and more as we're doing this stuff. So I'm not too worried about it. Day 3 is a lot like Day 1. We're gonna do some ankle hops just forward. Okay, so boing, 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 all on one foot. 8 each leg.
One foot?
One
That's a
foot.
hop.
Unilateral means one. Or they're gonna be doing snap downs. And if they're kind of somewhere in the middle, they can do A-skips over 10 meters. And then they're pairing that with a med ball slam with a stop, right? So making sure I really cue. All right, so that's why pairing with a snap down first. All right, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna go here, and I'm gonna do it with the weight. You kind of work with speed and then speed strength. And then it's gonna be our squat bend. So the progression for this is even if they're really struggling with that still, like we still want to give them something, they're gonna probably be doing some sort of heel elevated plate reaching squat. Okay, for 1, 2, 3. Come back up, or they're gonna do a goblet, or they're gonna do 2. And that's gonna be everybody, like they don't need a bar. Not this one. So we'll try to smoke them with that. And then everyone will be doing a single arm low incline. For low incline, I bring up the old benches like 2 clicks. Like the new ones, it's gonna go up a click. All right, same idea as the other button. I wanna feel my low back, hand over my shoulder, all that good stuff. The hinge is going to be either a kettlebell deadlift again, just because they need to work on 2 feet, or you're going to go, like, this one's a little bit more for like load, so you can go either a kettlebell, 2 kettlebell, or I like the snatch because it limits load, so they can't go too heavy because it's the grip components there, but it really kind of almost forces them to kind of stay tucked if you coach it right to the top. The biggest thing, like I said, is just really, really drilling people on how they start stuff, because you're gonna like they're gonna mess it up, but they're not gonna feel it. Like, if you don't drop your hip and you don't do all this other stuff. And if you feel like you don't know what you're doing, be like, hey Thomas, like I know this looks wrong, like I don't know what to do. Like just don't be afraid to come ask me. I'd rather you do that than like say like, oh, you need to drop this hip bone, but like they're like up here and they're like, oh wait, no, like wrong thing. I don't know. It's okay. It's complicated stuff. And then the quad dominant one's going to be a step up, a step down, or a step up with a cross connect. You guys all know how to kind of coach that. Step up's going to be just a little bit more like lower level. Like I don't really care too much. We're just kind of focusing on, can you kind of drive that hip down and really come up over. All right, or you can just do a plate reaching. If they're doing a step up, it should be either body weight or plate reaching and really focusing on this feel. If they're doing a step down, I really don't think anyone should do more than probably like a 6-inch box with like a couple of mats on it, maybe 1 or 2 to start. And if you coach it right, it's the same thing. It's gonna be, you gotta be like a 10-pound plate just so I don't fall. With this, I want to think about trying to get all my zipper, my belly button, and my nose kind of on my big toe. I'm going to keep this to keep me back, and then I need to tuck my hips, okay? And if you see, if I tuck my hips, look what happens on my knee. It should bend, okay? And then I'm going to pull myself down to the floor, and then come right back up. I kind of lost the tuck there at the end, so I'm going to readjust. That's all I got right there. See, I can. So it's how far that's like. You just want to meet them at where they're at. Like I said, like what range of motion do they have? It's like, oh, okay, like I saw what I needed. Like I see you lose about right there. That's roughly 6 or 7 inches. Keep that, really focusing on it, because we'll go over this other stuff here on Thursday or Friday, like a 3-point dumbbell row. You know the drill there. That's just going to be more concentration on feeling abs as you breathe in and breathe out and really reach. The conditioning days is like where they're going to get what they want to feel, right? So it's like, we're going to give you what you need. We're also going to give you 2 days of what you want. And for most people, it's going to be a 50-50 split because they only come 4 days.
Well, the early people only come from the Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Well,
it's perfect.
Just don't start coming to the night group. Because that's how I'm going to try to preface it like, hey, like your guys are entering into a program now. Like this is like each day plugs in off the other, each week builds off the other. So like this is motivation for you to come because like I really want you guys to see the benefits of this. I think this is going to change your life. You let me. Like in all aspects of like what you want, whether it's body composition, like all this stuff. Like it's like this is going to be different. That's my hope. Conditioning, so it's literally just going to be a tempo variation of 1 minute on, 30 off. For the first half of the session, you're just going to pair between like you're going to do med ball throw, like extensive, so just light, easy. We just bought a bunch of new reactive balls so people can line up by the silver stand, like the beams there, or they get them over there by the wall, and you can just have them go on their knees. They can do side tosses, they can do slams, they can do chest passes, they can do overhead passes. I don't care. They're just moving around for a minute, not stopping. And then they're just going to kind of rotate through. So we'll have like somebody on the rower, 2 people on the bike, 2 people on ropes, a couple other people doing med balls, and like you're just going to kind of just work around. And like you have 30 seconds to transition, and each week you just build that out. So the first week we're going to do 12 rounds, the second week we're going to do 14, 16, 18, etc. And then you take a little break, and then we'll just finish with some like 30 on, 30 off arms. And then same with that, we're just going to cut into the rest periods as the month goes on. So 30 on, 25 off, 30 on, 20 off, 30 on, 20 off. See if we get more reps. With the arm, you just cue, I don't care, I just put in here 3 buys and 3 tries, so it's 6 exercises, and we're just gonna rotate through that until we feel like they filled up enough time. And hopefully, if they went hard here, it's not gonna be like, this one day it doesn't kill them, but the day 2 is gonna suck, because it's more of like a strength aerobic for their first part. That's gonna be a 3 exercise circuit, which is it's gonna be an alternating floor press for 5 each arm. It's gonna be a death march, which is literally, if you think about it, it's kind of like a walking RDL. So I step, RDL, step, RDL. I realize most people can't do that, so they're just going to do 10 hip thrusts. And then either 3 pull-ups or TRX rows. And they're just going to do that for 10 minutes. And then same thing, each week we're going to add 2 minutes. And then they're going to take a good break, and then we're going to do kind of like a really crappy, like you're either going to push a sled for about whatever the equivalent of, I was going to ask you, is a mile on a bike. Because like we only have 2 bikes, and my guess is like people are going to start to realize what this is. You're not going to see a lot of people on Tuesday and Thursday. You're going to see the people who you think you're going to see because they want to be here. But like that's going to be like kind of like, oh, it's Tuesday, like I'm not going today, like it's going to suck. So like it's either going to be row, sleds, or a bike for whatever like the equivalent of a mile would be. So like kind of like an all, it's for time too, so it's kind of like an all out. I would imagine probably 2 down and backs with a sled, with a lighter sled, with just,
Down back.
yeah, like all the way. That'd be 120 yards.
That is a mile on a bike.
How much is a mile on a bike? Like a couple minutes? Ooh. Well, then it wouldn't be more of a sprint, it would be more like a push.
Yeah, like slow push.
Like a 2-minute sled push. Yeah, that's sick.
Just do that. No, just empty sled. 2 minutes left push. It still suck.
Yeah,
Do it
like
late.
25 on there or something. Yeah. Or like, yeah, like I said, they can get a rower, they can get a bike. You want some sort of this like terrible lactic burn, and you do 3 minutes. Or 3 rounds of that.
Yes.
In like the first 2 weeks, we keep it at 3. The second week, we bump it up to 4. The last week, we bump it up to 5. And then at whatever time, if they wanted to stay, we would just do some sort of like rear delt, so any kind of face pull part variation, any kind of like lateral delt, whether it's like just light shoulder presses or light kind of lateral raises, working on just like arm care stuff essentially.
So,
And that's the adult program. What do we think about that? Does that work?
I think it sounds sweet.
So I was thinking about this when we got that.
Peace.
Thanks for watching.